mind of a person plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. I graduated in 1997 from high school, and I had everything planned out and everything lined up for my freshman year at a local university. And then one day, near the end of the semester, my guidance counselor called me into her office and delivered to me what at the time was tragic news. You see, there was an oversight on my high school transcript, and I was missing a class that would allow me to go on to university. It wasn't going to prevent me from graduating, but it was going to prevent me from being able to go on to the university. And I was devastated. You know, I quickly constructed a plan to go to a local community college, and as I did, everything felt like it was falling apart. All my plans, all my dreams began not just to shatter into pieces, but what felt like they were grinded into dust in the midst of the winds of a hurricane. But God had a plan. I dropped out of college after about 2 years, and I joined Mercy Ships International, where I got to travel the world and discover how He wired me for such a greater purpose. And after 2 years of working with Mercy Ships, I returned home and I met the woman of my dreams, and I became a youth pastor alongside of her. Later, we became pastors working for churches throughout Europe, New York City, and eventually the upstate of South Carolina. I'd always told my wife I wanted a chance to go back and complete that degree. So I began making phone calls to universities and filling out online forms. And if you've ever done this, then you know how intimidating and the bombardment of phone calls and emails and texts that you receive when doing such. And to say that it's overwhelming is an understatement, and it was until I talked to Rusty Wing from Lee University. Rusty just made you feel like family right from the start. He didn't pressure me or harass me, and he did this crazy thing that no one else did. He wanted to hear my story. And to be quite honest, I chose Lee University because of Rusty. He listened to me. He knew that my goal was to graduate as quickly as possible, to obtain a master's in mental health counseling. My intention for the future is to go on and to work with leaders, especially pastors, because unless you are one, you don't get the pressures or the stress or the frustrations of the day in and day out weighing upon your shoulders. I get it. And you can't be honest just with anybody or open up to just anybody. You need that person that you can connect with. So my word later on will be to help those who help others. Very similar to how Lee University helped me, they gave me a chance. You see, my grades that I transferred in, the ones that actually could transfer in, were pretty bad. They were ugly. You know, and when I shared those with Rusty, it was very different than any other place, because a lot of places on the phone, the phone goes silent, or there's But they gave me a chance. The professors here were amazing. They challenged me. They encouraged me. They allowed me to disagree with them at times and push back with constructive opposing opinions without any fear of retribution. They actually cared for me. In November of 2020, I contracted the coronavirus, and I told my wife I wasn't feeling so well, and I was on my home from the church office, which was about 15 minutes away, and I pulled into the driveway and I couldn't move. I couldn't even get out of the car. Just like that, my body had quit working. My wife had to help me inside. I ended up in the emergency room, and I was unable to breathe, and I really don't remember much over a 4-day period at all. But during those 4 very difficult days, I had professors who were checking in on me via my wife, praying for me. And I don't mean just saying that they were praying for me. I believe these men and women were truly praying for me. What university does that? Lee University did that for me. In January, my son Eli and I came up to see the school for the first time in person. I met with Rusty, and he showed us around. We bought us lunch, and we got to catch up a little bit on a personal level. What university does that? Lee University did that for me. I had professors who came to me and asking if they could write a recommendation for my master's application. What kind of university does that? Lee University did that for me. My 2 years here at Lee has flown by, but its memory will not. When I walk across that stage tomorrow and I get in my car to drive home, I have gained so much more than a diploma. I have received a wealth of knowledge and a treasure trove of relationships that I will always cherish. It wasn't the plan that I would have chosen 25 years ago, but I know that God had a better path for me to take. So thank you, Lee University, for being such a vital part of the plan that God had